The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
It's not as good as that one.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel, and it is a Monday night. I am your host again, Kris, joined by Deka and Besty this week. Mark isn't here. We don't actually know where Mark is, but that's the happy clapper out of the way. So let's get it with it.
I have a feeling he would be on my case tonight. I think a little bit.
But yes, we are here for your live Monday night show. As always, if you do have any questions, send them in throughout. You don't have to wait to a certain point. Send them in. We'll go through as many as possible throughout the show, and we will highlight them as well. So we'll come back to them if needs be. But hi, boys. Both okay?
Yeah. Grand, thanks, yeah. Deka, all right?
I'm all right, mate.
Did he split the G there? Is there at the minute? It looks like it might be. That's what people are into, isn't it, now? Splitting the G right in the middle, all right, and the kind of tip.
Oh,
well done.
That was beautiful, that wasn't it?
That.
Are you actually going to take a photo of it as well?
Yeah, I'm going to send me, man.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that's perfect, that one.
Wow.
Unlike the performance on Saturday.
Hello.
Yeah, there's a comment in straight away.
Got split.
Aye, there was. There's a few splits. Comment in straight away from our very own Scott saying, "Is that Besty?" Didn't recognize him in a different top.
I was wondering how long that would take.
Yes, Besty is not wearing his what's it called?
It's original
range.
Yeah,
the original range. Besty's not wearing it. But yeah.
No.
It
stinks.
It stinks. I'm not surprised, mate. I'm sat here, you wearing that for 8 weeks or something.
I was down the beach yesterday wearing it. I thought, God, people are going to
try and drag you back in the sea.
If someone spots us here.
Boys, I'm disappointed.
Because Mark's not here, I'm not.
No, I'm disappointed. Do you know why? Going into that City game, I was expecting more as a team performance. But I think it brings it back down to what we've said so far this season is that this Newcastle United team this season, you can get anything. You can get the best of the best, or you can get a team that just doesn't turn up, which is the team that we saw in a big spell of that game against Manchester City. I think Bruno's came out and said it was a lazy performance from everybody. Eddie Howe's came out and said that they need to go back to basics, which is that's worrying, isn't it? For you man to say back to basics. What is basics?
I just didn't like the saying at all.
No, it's a bit. I wouldn't listen to too much of what Eddie has to say, to be honest with you. Like,
I know it just sounds so like I get what you're saying.
It sounds quite disrespectful, doesn't it? Like, but he says what he says what he thinks the right thing to say. It's not necessarily what the team need to hear or what he really thinks. He just kind of he plays everything with such a straight bat. And Newcastle were poor. Man City were very good as well. Like I think they've kind of found what they need to be doing. But teams get at them. During the commentary, that was a touch. During the commentary, it was the saying, they had Real Madrid last week. They've got Real Madrid again next week. Then Liverpool or Forest. And I thought, we are the kind of, and this is the rationale I've been applying in the cup final. So alarm bells are ringing for me now. Thinking, well, they've got bigger fish to fry than Newcastle, so they might take their eye off the ball or rest some of the big boys. But I was watching it, and I remember 5 minutes in thinking, we've not had the ball yet.
Didn't touch it.
Like I think we had one little thing down the right where Trippier or where who was on the right, Murphy might have had it. Murphy don't think he touched the ball at all. And apart from that, it was all Man City. Like that first, up until the point where it was 2-0. I thought at 2-0, I was just saying to you, Kris, I thought that's where we actually played some all right stuff. We played some really nice stuff. For what to me felt like a good spell of the game, in actual fact, it was probably 5-10 minutes. And then they got a third and I killed it. Absolutely killed it. But just it was a poor one. I think there's been a bit of I've seen people saying that they weren't trying, which I think is massively disrespectful, to be honest with you.
I think sometimes it's
just bad performance. They didn't play very well.
Because I would never use it. They are trying, but sometimes when you are watching the game, you're like what are the Are they? Like, and I know they are.
Yeah.
It's just on the eye. Like, to go back what you said there at the start. What did you say at the start? You said something. Oh, about like what Newcastle you're going to get.
Yeah.
And like, I was speaking to someone the day, and and I said to him, like, I thought we were past them days of turning up to any team, by the way, and getting just pumped. I thought them days were gone, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to contradict myself here massively, but I said that, and then I thought about it, and I thought, it is actually we got absolutely pumped off here, Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Like, so it is inward. You know what I mean? And the other thing that's worrying us a lot is, I think you could almost watch the first 5 minutes of us and then turn it off, because I think you could tell if we're going to win or lose, because we don't seem to change in a game. If we start the game like an absolute house on fire, do you know what it is? We're going to be fine the day. We'll be like that for 90 minutes. Whereas when we start a game poorly, that's it. We can't seem to change the flow of the traffic, like. And that was a prime example again on that. It was so old school in the way we were defending off the ball, running back, petrified. Hall, my goodness me. I'm going to fast forward it. Hall missed Joe Linton massively on Saturday, because it was the type of game where Joe Linton would come across and help him out a lot. Gordon's not offering anything the other way, by the way.
I'm not convinced he was fit.
Who, Gordon?
Gordon.
Something looked wrong, didn't it?
His touch felt miles off.
Obviously, Byrne holding his groin for at least 60 minutes of the game, I kept saying. But Hall was just getting terrorised by Savino, constantly getting terrorised. And the whole team were just running back. As soon as the Man City player got the ball, they're just running back.
It was a very, very high line that we played as well, wasn't it?
It felt really passive, I thought. It felt
very passive.
How said it was that we're going to go there. I think you might have said after the game that we're quite aggressive. I didn't see it. It felt like we were kind of letting them have the ball and trying to pick them off.
I can't recall a tackle.
They were just too good to be picked off. It was a mixture. I think a lot of those games you see, it's Man City will be going, we're back, we played really well there, and we're going like, we were awful there. And I think both things are true. I think we were awful because they were good, partly because they were good, partly because we just got things wrong. Like the first goal, Trippier totally misjudges it, the bounce of the ball. You see Shea's really high up the pitch.
It's a high line. It's a high line, isn't
Burns
it?
moving forward because Haaland's
does a good
Haaland's kind of moving back into the half,
yeah.
opening the space up behind him. And your man who got the hat, what do they call him? Got the hat trick?
And
Marmouche, yeah, the new lad, isn't he? He comes in and Trippier just totally misses the judge of the ball.
It's a wonderful run by that kid. To be fair,
it
is. But I agree, Trippier.
He just caught under.
I don't know. I know Trippier's going to get some heat here, and I suppose maybe I defend him too much. But I didn't like they played 5 at the back again, and Trippier was the right of the 3. In large cases, when we had the ball, we kind of went back to the 4, but without the ball, we had 5 at the back. And obviously, we played 5 at the back against Arsenal. It was Botman at that time, though. You see, Trippier's dropped in here as a right centre half, and my God, he got found out twice on both goals. The first one, there is no need for him to try and win that header so early. He's tracked the run really well. Like,
I think he does everything right apart from that split second.
He's tracked the run, but tried to be almost cheeky and get in front. And then once he does that, he commits himself.
But he's goal side as well. He's goal side, and he's thinking, right, he's got this covered. But then he tries to nick it, doesn't he? That's what he tries to do.
Yeah, tries to be a bit canny with it, and it just he gets the bounce the ball totally wrong.
And Dubravka's,
I don't think you can do out there.
There's nothing. No, there's not.
He's
just in the rock and a hard place.
No man's land in it.
It's one of them. If Trippier's not there at all, I reckon Dubravka probably comes out and clears that.
Yeah.
But because Trippier's there, Dubravka does the right thing by taking that moment to come out and go, it's all right, Trippier's there. The next thing you know, Trippier's not there, and then he's fucked.
I think the second goal Dubravka could do better with.
Well,
shut down, he's right.
I was going to say, Besty, we need your expertise here, because there's obviously a lot of rumours that he can't save or dive to his right.
I think he struggles a bit more with that side. Like,
I believe he does.
I think he should save that. I think it takes a touch on the way through, which can kind of be a little bit deceptive when you're the goalkeeper. I think in this instance, it makes it a little bit easier. It's changed the fight of the ball ever so slightly, but it slowed it down as well.
I almost thought he dove to make the save, but kind of didn't move his arms to save it.
It felt like do you
know what I mean?
Do better with
he dove, but his arms didn't do anything.
I don't want to. Yeah, I do like him a lot. Like, and I kind of
again, look, to come on to that goal, like I took a screenshot today because I've watched the highlights a number of times.
God, I've not.
And I was going to send it to you just to go, you seen this? But I thought no, because then I don't want to sway your opinions in any way. It's it's your thoughts on it. But like, if you watch that second goal again, right, we'll lose the ball cheaply, and the pass into midfield, right, and the in, and there's 3 or even 4 players that are Tonali, Bruno, Gordon. They're all on the left hand side of the field. And this I can't recall who it was. I apologize. He has the ball, runs straight through. Well, I was going to say runs through midfield. He doesn't. He just runs through the middle of the pitch because there's no one there. Plays it to Marmouche, who then obviously does Trippier and scores. It was just that like Tonali and Bruno, and Tonali's been a revelation since going to that number 6 position.
Yeah.
But listen, and if anyone's entitled to have an off day, it's him, because he's been amazing for it feels like 30 games. But it's just weird seeing him as passive as that. It really is. And I don't want to make it, listen, they're a very good side, Man City, who haven't won there for 100 years. I get all of that. But it does annoy you when you think, I think we've got a chance to go there and get something. And the reason why I thought it was such a big game is it was 4th against 5th, top 4, etc., etc. Them have played midweek. They've getting beat midweek, last minute. They've conceded 2 goals in 5 minutes, and everyone's very, very keen to talk about confidence and will they be tired and blah blah blah. We look like we had played Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
We look miles off. I thought the same. It just wasn't. And it's weird because we went from the kind of dodgy run of form up until Brentford away. Then all of a sudden we've won something like 9 and 10, and now we've lost 3 and 4 in the league again. It's feast or famine a little bit, isn't it? And the performances haven't been great either. Like Bournemouth played off the park. It's James's Man City.
But it's similar with players. We just look at likes of results. Yes, results are up and down. We went on a great run of form. Then we're hitting a bit of a slump at the minute when it comes to Premier League games. But then you look at individual performance as well, and I think Gordon's probably the prime example. In fact, Gordon and Murphy are probably the prime example of this. They either have really good games, or they are literally the worst. There's no in between for them at the minute. Especially Gordon. Like Besty said, Gordon, was he fit? Was he not? He just looked half-assed at times.
I don't think it's half, but I think it's just I think what Gordon gives you, even when Gordon's not, a lot of the time when he's not playing well, he's an outlet, so you can see him with his foot on the ball and he runs the defenders, and you might get his last ball wrong and the shot might not be.
And he did make a couple of decent runs. And there was one where Isaac had the ball and he could have played it off to his left. We decided to go on a little journey.
Yeah, I think
and got stuck amongst 5 players around him at one point on the right-hand side.
I think it was a 2-0. That might be one of the ones.
Possibly, yeah. And there was another one as well where he could have squared it back across to Gordon. Yeah. Then I think he took a shot. I think at that point.
Yeah, one that was deflected that went past the post.
Possibly. Yeah. It must be that one, yeah.
I think that's a funny one. I think it's probably.
I just thought he could have. I think he almost went the long way around. Yeah. But if he scores in, I'm not saying that myself.
Well, yeah, that one where Gordon's too. I think the ball's got to go to him early. And with Gordon, like I say, that the way he played on Saturday, there's no guarantee that he would have scored. But I think that would have been the right decision for Isaac to make. But yeah, Gordon, it reminded us a little bit of his games at the start of the season where he was huff and puff. But the final ball or the decision just wasn't quite right. But yeah, I feel a bit less bullish. I remember driving in here last Monday and I had the cup draw on my radio, thinking, I don't care who we'll get Man City, we'll get Man United, we'll probably beat them. Now, looking ahead of Brighton at home in the cup after the result they've gotten last week, thinking like, I'll tell you what, this could be a tough one. This, and then Liverpool in the cup final as well coming up. I'm not saying that I was like going in there thinking we're definitely going to turn them over. We are more than capable of turning up, but it tended to be the big teams this season that were turned up against. I think I put in our group chat this weekend that the only big 6 in inverted commas team to beat with this season up till the weekend was Chelsea in the league.
Well, it's a conversation that we had just a couple of weeks ago, saying on Newcastle a big game team.
Yeah, I still think we are. I don't think one result at Man City where we've been bad for. We've never won in the league at the.
Shearer scored the last one, wasn't it?
It wasn't 2000. Is it Main Road? We've beaten there in the League Cup when Aaron's into Silver scored 2040, I think it was.
Oh, was it?
10, 11 years ago now. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, we've got a lousy run of form there. Like, so it's how you react to it, innit? And it's a tough game next weekend. Forest at home.
See, I remember sitting here, and it doesn't feel that long ago when we were on a poor run and we couldn't score and blah blah blah. And then they went on that amazing run, and surprised a lot of people, or the people that had faith in them proved them right. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel I'm in that position again where we've dropped down to 7th now. I think 6th or 7th.
7th, yeah.
We've got Forest coming up, which I feel Forest is a huge game, actually, to be honest, in terms of the top 4 aspirations. And the reason why I say that is two reasons, I think, for the next couple of games. You've got Liverpool coming up again, which is like a dress rehearsal. Yes, that's going to be.
That's the Wednesday. Yeah. Next Wednesday, isn't it? 26th?
Well, Liverpool.
So we've got Forest and Liverpool. Yeah. It's incredibly 2 difficult, really, really difficult games. But if you, and I don't want to be too negative here, but if you, let's say you get a point out of them 2 games, I just feel the top 4, there's only going to be 10 games remaining then. I just feel top 4 is a real problem. And then I also worry about the momentum and confidence going into the cup final. And it happened last time. Last time, there was only got 2 points out of the following 3 and then lost the cup final as well. So I don't know. Now listen, we could sit a couple of weeks time and go, you know, we've beat Forest and we've got a point in Liverpool and we're loving it and blah blah. But that I'm just saying that on blind faith more than anything. But it is a bit concerning. It is a bit concerning.
You can look at certain things, and yes, we can sit here and focus on that Man City game a lot. But yes, I said at the very start of this that I was disappointed in the fact that we didn't turn up, because I was expecting a hell of a lot more than what was actually on show at the weekend, especially all the talk about being the best time to play Man City as well. We're never going to get a better opportunity to go there and get a result. But what I do want to say is Eddie Howe hasn't been helped at all here in regards to transfers coming in and players going out as well, right? Man City go and spend money.
Couple $100 million in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one of them gets a hat-trick. One of them gets a hat-trick against us. So I'm not saying it's all tired legs and players like that. I'm not saying that, because I think the lads on the field should have done a hell of a lot better than what they did, okay? To have one shot on target was horrendous, and that was Lewis Miley. Yeah, when he came on,
he actually did well when he came on.
Yeah, he did come on.
Yeah, he came on. Was it half time he came on?
Half time, yeah. There's double sub at half time. Rightly so as well.
Again, like that.
Yeah, it's we'll talk about now, because Joe Willock, he just didn't have the best of. Nobody did, right? Nobody did. But he stood out like a sore thumb to me.
I was really hoping after Birmingham that he kind of got a bit of confidence, got a couple of goals. Could have had more against Birmingham. You know that as soon as assist for Wilson, I've got a feeling that Willock's shot might be going in there. But I really want him to do well with it. But I'm starting. It's
unimpressed.
The more he plays, the more evidence there is to suggest that I don't want to be too dramatic, because I like him. I like Joe Willock a lot, and I think one of the reasons that he hasn't performed as well is that he hasn't had a run of games. The problem is at this level, you can't have 10 games to find your stride. You've got to just be ready, and you've got to be performing when you're picked, and he hasn't. You know.
I think with Willock, and I, funny enough, I said this on the Saturday for the Birmingham game, who I was watching the match with, and I said a few things about Willock, about who I think he is nowhere near the player that we've seen, and I almost think he lives off that run. Like, people see him and they're like, oh, that's Willock. He hasn't been the same Willock for a long time, right? And that's also injury and blah blah blah.
A couple of big injuries,
and then he went and scored 2 against Birmingham, and then everyone was going, well, you're wrong. But I was like, well, not really, but he was dreadful again. Now they all were, and I suppose, but you can't just label everyone was bad, so you can't talk about individuals.
Yeah, of course not.
I do think Willock was very poor, and it's a great opportunity for him as well, because with Joe Linton being out, he's been given the opportunity to impress. And again, God, I didn't know he was on. I'm being honest, I didn't know he was on. And we've seen that too much for him, in my opinion, for drifting out of games, not really being able to get. Whereas before, certainly playing on that left hand side, driving with the ball and things.
Do you think he's a better player when Joe Linton's on the field, though?
I would probably agree.
I think he's better off. I mean, again, I'm saying yes. That's based on what happened 2 seasons ago when they played together.
True. Well, it happened earlier on this season as well, didn't it? And they looked great.
But that's kind of, you're right though, that isn't it? That you're going back 2 seasons to say, remember that passage of the outside of the front where we beat Spurs 6-2. That's 100 games ago.
Or that one where even further back, and that was when we beat Leicester at home and Bruno scored that diving header. Target kind of played the ball, and he went up with. And that's kind of the Joe Willock that I'd love to see again, but I don't know if injuries have kind of taken away whatever it was. He's a couple of, how old Willock now? Is he 26, 27?
I'd say 26.
We've had him since 2020. What happened during lockdown season?
I think it's fair to say, right, and I know people are going to go, well, it's injury.
25.
He is, just a young lad.
25.
He definitely hasn't kicked on to what we all thought, right?
He's not progressed.
He hasn't, has he?
No.
Because I thought he's going to be a mainstay. He's going to be in that team all the time. He's too valuable. And I know injuries have been a huge problem. I get it.
But you say that with Callum Wilson as well. Look, I mean, Callum Wilson's older, obviously, but the injuries. There's talk of him signing a new deal, and people are kind of saying, "Well, why?" and all that. And Callum Wilson's been great for.
I'll be getting me pension.
So much.
I'll be getting me pension. I mean, Mark's already got his, but I'll be getting me pension. And then he'll be getting a contract extension. They're like, yeah, for Wilson.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Trotting him out in a wheelchair.
I don't mind him getting a contract extension, providing. I mean,
providing somebody else.
Providing someone else comes in. I was reading the thing before they're talking about Mbumo again. What's his bracket on the right hand side? Asula will be a little bit older and have a pre-season already. Isaac, assuming that he stays, I don't see why he wouldn't.
Well, top 4 is a problem. Like, I think we've got to get chat. The more I think about it, Champions League football,
5th place probably gets.
It probably does, but
depending on what happens in the final as well.
Chelsea are starting to wobble a little bit. Forest have just started to drop a couple of points here and there, so I think 5th place is doable, but we're really. I mean, we're coming off the back of a brilliant run again. We've lost those 2 home games. We've lost again this weekend. Just gone there, and it's kind of, it feels like one of those points of the season where it can go one or two ways.
Well, we addressed this a few months ago, didn't we? I said now is about the time where we should start opening that gap, and when we did start,
We did.
Then it's just quickly closed. What 4 points off 10th or something now?
Yeah, but we're also at that point we were kind of level with Man United,
Yeah,
Tottenham, about 13, 14, 15 points ahead of them now. Like, so we'll have opened up a big gap, and it is stretched, but it's, I think, Villa and Fulham 9th and 10th maybe, who are 3 and 4 points away from. We're also 3 points away from 4th.
Yeah.
You know, and like Deka says,
I think the next 2 games are pretty big.
I think that begins like
certainly the Forest one.
I
feel that's more winnable than the other one.
I think it's more winnable. That doesn't mean that we'll win.
Yeah,
obviously. West Ham at home on a Monday night's a big one as well before the final. I think
is that at home? Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll play them away.
Be them, like.
West Ham's away. No, West Ham's
away.
away.
West Ham's away. Within it, St James's Park. Yeah, right. Yeah.
We'll play them on a Monday night, then it's a cup final on the weekend after.
We're going to watch it here. Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Might as well.
I think.
Yeah, one huge
yes, Besty lad. Executive decisions is what I like. No, I think.
Oh, let me good jumper.
I don't know why, I'm probably really overselling this for some reason, but I just feel that Forest game is huge. Like, I don't know, because I just think if you lose that one, right? I don't know who Fulham's playing, who's Bournemouth's playing and stuff, but you lose that one, Liverpool, I think you're not getting out there. Like, unfortunately not. Yeah. And I mean, we've got them in the final, so I shouldn't be as negative as that. But it's a tough old place to go to Anfield, man.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think we said last week, they'll just get the cells picked, get Jeff Hendrick back, and just kick him up a hike. Go for Salah's ankles.
I mean, to be fair, Wolves give them a hell of a good goal yesterday. They were quite unlucky, to be fair, in many regards. But I suppose you can't play well every week. The one thing I would say, if the Forest game coming up, you would hope for a reaction. And I know we'll probably go back to the City game in a minute, but just how poor that game was, obviously, how we'll be into them all week here, you know.
Well, that's what I mean. You can easily sweep it under the carpet and say, it's just a one-off game, blah, 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 blah. But
I've done that too many times. I've done that. I did it with Bournemouth. It's just one of them.
It was far from it. Like,
I did it with Fulham.
There was that spell where they had, what was the hat-trick? Was something like 16 minutes or something, wasn't it?
18, I think. 14 minutes.
They probably could have had another 4 goals in between the minutes that he didn't score as well. They battered us at one point.
Burns clearance off the line. Well, sorry, I see off the line. It was
brilliant.
Goodness, what a block. Like, what a clearance, because that's a goal. A goal. And to get that right in that moment, because it could have been an own goal quite easily.
Just gets it.
He did so.
Honestly, there was about a 20-minute spell where we could not cope,
and that's why I was getting really frustrated, especially on the right hand side. That Savinho, I mean, he just had Hall on utter toast. And I know a lot of people are saying Hall can't defend, blah blah blah, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm absolutely stunned that the bench or the players on the field, like Willock, for example, playing the left-hand side of that 3. Do you know what, Hall? I'm going to come over there for 5 minutes and give you a hand, because this kid's pulling your arse out. I never seen that once, man. It was just, this kid was running at Hall, and Hall was running back like the Philip Albert days. You found him. Honestly, no, it was like that. Sorry, man. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. It really was, though. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch the old stuff that they just run back in. I mean, the third goal, the lad's hat trick.
Yeah.
There's 4, 5, maybe even 6 players that are borderline on our goal line. He passes it. They've got Marmouche unmarked 8 yards out, unmarked. Yeah. But there's 7 people in front of him on the goal line. That is insane. That is Bruce Ball. That was borderline Bruce stuff I was saying there. Passive, running backwards, deep line, really deep line. Well, high 1 minute, obviously, given the first goal. Then almost goes, shit, we can't go that high again. Let's go on the fucking goal on the Bradford's eyebrows.
I saw a couple of mentions on social media, people saying, if you had to pick that performance up to somebody that hasn't watched Newcastle over the last 20 years, you would say that was a throwback to the Mike Ashley days, that performance, because it was like,
it was disorganized, it was passive, really players didn't look like they know what they were doing. Now, some people have blamed Howe in the approach to the game. I don't actually. I'm not saying I blame Howe for that, but I thought it was more the application of the players. That's personally my opinion.
I think it's more. I would say more Howe than a player. I think you've got to look. I think the players didn't play very well, but I do think we said at the start they were very passive and all that, and I think that comes down to how they've been told to go out there and address the game.
He tried to set them up the same way as the Arsenal game. I honestly believe that. 5 at the back, you know.
I think
isn't it? He's got the B&M artwork up on the wall about intensities. I think every single day of them coming out in the office.
The B&M artwork, outstanding.
Well, you know, he has on the wall, live life and all that. So I reckon, the players. I think the players should know. They should know every time them go on the pitch. The one thing you've got to do, and especially at like some Man City, you've got to work hard. You've got to get stuck in. Howe shouldn't even really have to tell them that, if I'm being honest. And if Howe has went, just don't worry, lads, just let them run at you and run back a bit.
Do you think what we were missing, right? And I know you're a big fan of Trips, right? Yeah. I'm a flip of a coin between him and Tino, who starts each week. Do you think we missed Tino's pace at recovering?
It's really hard to say.
If he's playing, you see, listen, right? It's difficult, isn't it? Because you play 5 minutes ago, it feels like, in Trippier's experience, leadership qualities,
fantastic in Arsenal,
were amazing. Now you're playing Man City away somewhere we haven't won since 100 years against a very, very good team. I would imagine sitting, if I was Howe in the house going, do you know what it is, could really lean on his experience again, his leadership again.
Yeah.
And I get it, right? I get it. But having said that, I'm not so sure about him playing the right centre half of a back three. I'm not so sure about that.
Okay.
But
I think that's pretty right. It's one of those things where hindsight's the kind of
absolutely
right. the benefit of and all that. Like, and if you're looking at that again, you could say, Liverpool would have dealt better with that one. That you'd have the pace to get in behind Marmouche for the header and all that. Like, it would have maybe not made that decision. But
grab me a fake coke.
If you played Trippier again, play the fixture again, and that happens again, Trippier might make a different decision and clear it and announce each. And I mean, it probably wouldn't have affected the result overall because of how things turned out. But I am can I have a lemon Fanta, please? But I don't know. I'm the same as you, Chris. I think it's a toss of a coin. The stuff that Tino gives you, thank you, Deka. The stuff that Tino gives you with regards to pace and how he carries the ball forward, that Trippier doesn't. But Trippier's experience, in big games, how many big games has Trippier played in? Like talking against
his life,
against the teams like Man City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona when he was out there, Champions League finals and stuff like that. So Trippier's got that experience. I think if Howe was to pick the team again, he would probably make the same call again. And I don't think he could really.
But you're saying that though. You're saying that those two halftime changes, which you never really see from anyhow.
No, unless
Trips,
it's an injury.
Trips goes off and Willock goes off.
Yeah, so it's
Miley and Willock, Miley and Tino that come on, isn't it?
Aye.
I think that tells you that his game plan and hasn't worked, right? Because any manager that, unforced by the way, makes 2 or 3 substitutions at half time means the game plan or the personnel hasn't worked, right? That's surely pretty obvious. Thanks, mate. And listen, maybe I am being a bit, maybe I am a bit too what's the word? I just love Trippier, right? so maybe I'm being too kind.
Generous.
But I was answering the question that you offered. I'm trying to lean towards why Howe done what he done, because I think he's judging it based on experience and what he's seen in the last game, which I get. Yeah. But to your point, I think when Tino came on, there was a few great bursts down the right hand side that he did, which of course he gives you that energy and I love Tino. I really do. It's a tough one. In hindsight, I think Besty spot on. Hindsight, like, you know, you see these mistakes happening, and you go, well, you shouldn't have played him. And it's easy to say that now. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Same with the Willock thing. After scoring 2 at Birmingham, in the way I think he got man of match, didn't he, as well at Birmingham? Although I thought he struggled earlier in that game and took the first goal, which was
I think Deka put a message in the chat saying he's literally the worst. And he went and scored straight afterwards.
But even then, that first one's like fortunate in it and all that. Like, but it's in his head and all that, and it can be perceivable. And all of a sudden, he starts going on and playing better. So you can't exactly, and with the options that we have in midfield. I mean, before the game, we were saying, do you play Longstaff? Do you play Willock? Do you play? How was the Arsenal game actually? Do you play?
You don't got many options there. You've only got Longstaff, Miley, or Willock.
I mean,
I still think what Willock gives you going forward is more than the other two, but he's so far out of form that I wonder, with Forrest coming up next week, if he might start with Miley instead.
A bit of a passenger, won't he?
I would start with Miley, like. And that says a hell of a lot about Miley as well, by the way, because
he's excellent.
He's a very good footballer, isn't he?
Well, we'll go back down the question which I asked a few weeks ago: who's higher in the pecking order, Longstaff or Miley? It's Miley, hands down.
I think Miley is there now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I think he is.
And I've got no issue.
Nah.
With that. And again, I feel like I'm always on Longstaff's case, but I said this at the time, like you just move on from players. It just happens, right? He becomes a squad player, and Tonali was coming in playing more, which, you know, because back a few months ago, people were going, no. Longstaff in, play him instead of Tonali and stuff? No, absolutely not.
I still like Sean Longstaff. Like,
Yeah,
but
no, I know,
more,
that's why I don't know.
probably more as a bloke than as a.
Yeah, he's limited. He's limited, right?
Yeah,
he's limited,
yeah.
And Miley's up and coming. And the thing is with Miley, right? He never seems to let one down, right? When he comes on, I know that there was a goal against Luton. I remember back when he got bullied at the back post. But hey, it is what it is. But he's played in the Champions League. He's never certainly on the ball and stuff. He's so composed, isn't he? He doesn't look out of place at all. And I thought he did I think he played quite well when he come on. I know he had that shot which the keeper saved quite easily, but I thought he carried the ball well. He kept one moving better. And I think I think Howe might give Willock one more goal. Like I think he might give him another goal against Forest. But if Miley did play,
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by it.
When's the Big Joe back? Has he got another couple of weeks yet?
I don't think I think it's one of those Eddie Howe updates that you get.
Yeah.
So I don't actually think anybody knows.
So there'll just be a press conference one Friday where he goes, "Oh, by the way,"
you'll probably see him drop in just before the final. I would have thought. I think that's when you'll see him. So come back in.
That'll be the West Ham game.
It's like
probably
4 weeks, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. I'd like to see Joe get some game time than just rocking up for a final. And of course, if he's fit, he plays. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I would like to see him get some game time before that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming in cold like that, it's not always great, you know.
There's a shout here, and I will go through all the questions in a minute, but just because this has been highlighted, it's a comment from Solid One. It says, "My worry with Miley is PSR dream."
Yeah, sadly, he's absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you'd be able to get for him. But I agree that it is a PSR dream. And to go back to the transfers thing, I'm not blaming the club here necessarily, but I do feel sorry for him, for how in this position that we find ourselves in, because we haven't been able to strengthen.
Been stitched up.
He really has.
Big style, yeah.
But I do understand why they haven't acted in January, because if we acted in January, would be in a horrible position like we were last summer, where you're trying to get Gordon, you know. You're almost shipping Gordon around the doors, and you have to lose Minty. You have to get rid of Anderson. You don't want to be in that situation.
You just need that injection really of new faces in and around the team as well, 100%. Which he hasn't had for God knows, apart from the likes of Sula. But you haven't really had anybody fighting for a first team spot, have you, for a little while? Who was the last one off the top of my head?
I mean, Lewis Hall, technically, pretty Tonali, you know.
Tonali. But then again, was he? He wasn't really a fresh face because he was there anyway. You just banned.
Oh, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But the summer we bought him prior to the ban. Him, Tino came in that summer. Lewis Hall came in. There will be others I can't remember exactly.
I think the last 3 transfer windows we've never strengthened the starting 11. Am I wrong?
Lloyd Kelly, Asula came in last summer, just gone. Obviously, Hall made his loan permanent.
Yeah,
I don't recall the first team being made stronger in any of those windows. No, since the one Tonali, Tino. You know, Hall came in on loan.
And that's tough. That is for any manager. That's tough, because I totally agree with you. You need that freshness. You need new faces. You need to create the competition. I get all of that, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that. Not because we haven't wanted to.
Well, we've sold them instead. Well, and I'm not saying the likes of Mickey would have changed that at the weekend, but like a bigger squad.
Like Anderson would have been playing now, I believe, and I believe Minty. I'm not saying Murphy's done very well at right wing. I am not criticising my friend Jacob Murphy, but he would have probably had game time as well. And we've had to lose these players.
He scored 2, didn't he? At the end.
I did. And House didn't want to lose them at all, but unfortunately, our hand's been forced. But
yeah, it's a strange one where obviously the related party transactions things come through the court this weekend, and Man City are saying that it's been a great result for them.
The APT rule.
Reading the thing, it was Miguel Delaney. I was reading it, started reading it, didn't go all the way through it.
So explain it to us, Besty.
I didn't go all the way through the article. Apparently, it might not be the massive triumph that Man City are selling it to be.
So it's based on the old rule, isn't it?
Delaney loves pissing on people's hips, doesn't he?
He hates us still to this day.
Oh, he does like
dartboard, isn't it?
No, it's not what you think it is.
But apparently it is only relating to a couple of certain aspects.
But it was previously, wasn't it? Because obviously they changed it when obviously they didn't want Newcastle.
It's so brazen. Every article you read about it, regardless if it's from a pro Newcastle, like a fanzine, like True Faith or the mag or whatever, head of NUFC blog or whatever. It's stuff like in the mainstream press. So like in the independent, Delaney writes for the Guardian, whatever, the Athletic. Everything always refers to the associated party transactions rules, which came in as a result of the Saudi acquisition
Yeah, yeah.
Newcastle. So there's no secret made that
everybody knows why
they
it was,
came in because it's to stop Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it was that, yeah.
And
it was basically to slow it down.
Brazenly so, like
Yeah.
So it's weird that, like I said, Delaney's saying that it's not this massive. I've not read the full article yet, so I can't give you too much insight as to exactly what it says. But like, I mean that there was talk yesterday. I've seen people saying, "Well, could they sue the Premier League for the money that they've not been able to get in the past 3 years, 2 years, whatever the time frame it's been?" As a result, and I mean that's an interesting one to follow. I think that could be the case.
DeMarco was he called? The one that was
the QC.
Yeah.
QC, sorry, yeah.
He was posting a few things over the weekend about it as well. Yeah, not in depth or anything, but basically saying that was bang over what went on at the time, saying it was obvious the reason why it was brought in and things like that.
Yeah, I think from the little bits I've been reading was absolutely Man City looked like they've won their battle in regards to that ruling, right? But it seemed more so that, okay, you've won it in the past because whatever the reason was, you clarified a loophole. And they're going to kind of get around the table again and then almost redo the rule again, which I don't think is going to be the almighty sort of...
it's not a silver bullet, is it?
It's not, I don't think. I think they'll get around the table again and pretty much do the same rule, but perhaps not as aggressively. It might not be as awful as what it has been, but... I don't know. I think so soon the Premier League. I mean, Premier League probably hasn't got the money. If I'm being honest, they'll have money, but I don't think they'll have enough to pay everyone out. Because we'll not be the only club that's been stifled by that. I know it's obviously us, really, but there'll be other clubs.
Also, Man City, almost
Man City, one of them.
They're the one not taken to the court.
Well, Gary's jumping in with a comment saying he said we could only sue the Premier League if it can be proved that we lost revenue due to the rulings.
Yeah,
and I don't think
how can we get that proof?
Nah, because I don't think we would have been rejected. I don't think we would have went to the Premier League and went. This oil company in Saudi are offering £1 billion to.
You couldn't legitimately say this is the offer.
Pour oil on
sponsorships,
and they're going to reject that. I just think we've went with what we have, which we think will get approved in the Premier League. Went,
unless that's been happening. I mean, we haven't got a training ground sponsor yet, which I think a lot of people thought would have happened by now.
Yeah,
a training kit sponsor.
And do you think maybe though that? And I agree with you. I think the club have thought, oh, we'll not even go to the Premier League with that because we're not going to get rejected.
Alternative could be that they've been approaching Premier League saying, by the way, we've got Aramco want to, for instance, Saudi company want to sponsor the training kit for £50 million a season. It won't be that much again, hypothetically. And the Premier League says, "Oh no, I can't do that."
Then
that could be the point at which we present, say, well, here's what the Premier League said no to, whereas this is actually legitimate. I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but that could be an explanation for the perceived lack of movement in those in those kind of areas. So
hopefully the rule, if the rule does change, well then the floodgates might open, right? And then you will have, every single sponsor under the sun that'll be pouring money in training ground sponsors on training kits, sponsors on your balls.
It has been a little bit discouragingly slow.
Football, I mean, not your ball.
And stuff like that. Won't be away. We've got the hair transplant.
Yeah,
gone now.
Don't
think anymore. Yeah. I might be wrong, but I've not seen the boards around for a while.
I suppose if anyone's going to be paying attention, that kind
it's
of
thing.
It's
going to be me, me and Mark.
That's where Walker is. Come back.
They've got them out piff boards up now, aren't they?
The piff boards.
They're there during the
talking about advertising boards. See the size of Man City's.
Oh,
like a double, like a bus.
There's two.
I know.
One set off, but the Wolves do the same thing.
It's huge.
It's good, isn't it?
We've got one set up. It's good. It's
commercials.
It's
no, but you'll get more money from your commercial because you give them double the space.
It's like mathematically quite impressive.
You couldn't not see it. You could see that fucker from the moon.
Well, I remember when they first did it, I thought it was just one sponsor board.
Yeah, it's staggered, isn't it?
It's staggered, quite cleverly the way it's done.
Did it? I think so. Jesus. But that's one thing. If we get a new stadium, we can guarantee we'll have that. It'll be around the middle tier and all that.
On about new stadium, so we will get back to the game. I promise. Well, I do have to. But anyway,
we'll just throw shit and we'll get on with it.
Everton's new stadium today. They are having a sort of friendly exhibition game.
Oh yes, right.
Behind the scenes, and it's been all over Sky Sports today. I was watching it before you was coming. What's your thoughts on their new ground? Have you seen?
Great.
Do you think so?
The location, with being right in the riverside, looks really good. I love they've got a big glass kind of front of concourse. Looks over the Mersey. It's I forget which part of Liverpool it is now. Liverpool. I think
it's Pearson, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Chris is a fan. Chris seemed a bit of a fan tonight, there, didn't he?
I think it looks crap. It looks really
steep. So I thought I wasn't too keen on the bubble. It's very European, isn't it? The bubble.
Don't mind that because how many grounds do you see It's just like the
it's
British
different.
grounds that have been built in the last 30 years that are like all the same. Bolton, well, not Bolton for the exception. Sorry, Borough, Sunderland, Southampton, Leicester. They're all just like a bowl, and it's like, well,
so like a scaffolding structure as well, like similar to St James's, how we got that.
The
scaffolding side, right? But then what I did like is how close the pitch still is to the fans as well.
Yeah,
like you could literally play on the left wing.
Oh, it was really close.
Goodison's got a bit of that about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it almost looked closer than Goodison, if that's even possible. But
it's ridiculous.
I thought it was a German ground. I almost thought it was like Schalke or something. Like,
it does look a bit like, it has got that kind of
steep. I've never seen anything like it.
In the back tiers.
Never seen anything like it.
That's like Wembley's the opposite. Look, looking at obviously, because Wembley tickets have been kind of the conversation over the past few days, how shallow the bottom bowl at Wembley is.
Yes.
It's really...
I think what it's done for me a little bit, I'm really scared in case I don't like the new stadium if they build one. Because if
we know for fine well you're not gonna like it.
You'll hate it.
Then 10 years later you'll love
it. But it might take 10 years.
It's like a home strip all over.
No, if it was like Spurs, like if it was like Spurs and it was like they showed you a picture from outside, I'd be like, that's it. I'd probably just work outside there. I would just take my laptop and sit there and work there and just look at it. Amazing. But
if Eels has got to do with it, he was responsible for Atlanta.
Yeah,
I love that one, didn't he?
I love Atlanta. That was amazing when I went there. But that Everton one, I just think if that was our stadium, I don't know. Like, I mean,
what's
from the
outside
outside,
capacity of it?
It's 50. It's more than St James. I think it's like 50,
58 or something.
Is it? Yeah, it's high 50s. Yeah,
it's not like, and it's the right thing to do because they're not. No offense to Everton, they're not 65 and 70s. They're just not going to fill it.
Yeah.
I mean, not you're sharing a city with Liverpool.
Yeah,
getting
totally right.
Every weekend. Yeah, no, I think it's.
I mean, it is exciting for their fans, and of course tonight they're going at the ground there and they're all buzzing, right? And I get all that. It's
53. It's probably only 53,000.
I've got nothing. It's not. This is absolutely nothing as well, by the way, about Everton. Like, it's not. I'm not saying I don't like it because it's Everton. That's not it. It's not it at all. It's just when I seen the footage tonight, there I was like, oh god, if that was ours, I'd be a bit disappointed.
I looked at ours. I was watching the thing. I forget which game it was now. And it was someone saying, "Why would you want to leave St James's Park?" Because I was after the Arsenal game in the cup. And it looks amazing, St James, because it is lopsided and it's got the character. And now, one thing with Bramley Moore Everton's doing is that it doesn't. I'd love to think a new Newcastle Stadium, should it be built, would kind of have elements of St James's Park. So stuff that you go like it's like
a unique sort of thing.
Stuff that we've got like.
Watch have the pitch like that again.
I have a pitch at like 45 degrees and. I don't know. Maybe it's that I love the. Can you remember when they used to have the Newcastle badge over the Elises?
Yes.
I used to love that.
Yeah, I did as well.
I used to love that, and the Newcastle United on the East Stand. Obviously, we made a big thing about that getting changed back like a year.
Yeah, because that would technically not happen, right? Because that stand wouldn't look like that at all, would it?
Yeah, so it would. I would like to think there'd be that somehow they'll be able to incorporate stuff like that.
Yeah.
Instead of being a totally new, a totally fresh.
Yeah.
Like what Everton seems to be with it. I mean, I'm probably the minority. I love Goodison. It's dropping to bits, and you've got those concrete. Big.
That's because you're sort of an old school purist.
I love it. How larger ball each grounds and stuff like that. Like, I was at Goodison last season when we got beat 3-0, and you can see how knackered it looks. It's so tight, and they need it to change. But I'd like to think that they would have incorporated some part of Goodison, even just like some sort of some of the features. Not necessarily take the stand and just dump it, on the riverside.
Just put a massive support in front of somebody's face.
So something. Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it when that's not there. And I suppose in new grounds it's not, because that's the problem. It is hard, isn't it, to generate that feeling of it's yours?
Yeah.
Like, because it's so different. You know what I mean?
How long it took Arsenal to get used to the Emirates, because Highbury was
so tight and on the pitch, etc.
Similar to Goodison, actually.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
I used to love watching games at Highbury because it just felt so claustrophobic.
Oh, it did.
Like there was like a 5-a-side pitch with 22 blokes on it.
It was the type of camera I try and get on FIFA, and he hates. Highbury was. It was like pitch level almost.
Worst.
QPR's a bit similar. Loftus Road's got a bit of that as well, but where it's really, really tight.
But I just hope, like, listen, we'll get it. Oh, there you go. That was amazing. That we'll get it right. I would hope. I just thought when I was looking on the inside, outside is a different kettle of fish. I'm not saying it's not nice from the outside, just from the inside. I was like, ugh.
Jules has dropped in with a min comment. She said, maybe that's best for you, Besty. She said, maybe there'll be a padlock on the goal. That fella chained himself to the.
Do you have a booing section?
Was it a bike lock that he chained himself to?
But just an oil blow on it. I think it was
I think it was fella with the teeth was trying to cut it off.
He put it
was a bike lock, I think.
I think it was.
Was it? Oh, it was.
You were trying to come out with like the big snips on it.
Yeah.
I was laughing because I was at Glastonbury. That was that year, the year after. And my sister-in-law Sal works she works in a big oil refinery down in the Ellesmere Port. And I was trying to get her signed up for Just Stop Oil. So we go to work with their t-shirts on and that, like, so
Shall we go through some questions?
Oh, that's
Yes, best part of the night.
nice.
As always, we're going to go to Josh. Josh sent in a donation, and he said, "Why are some NUFC fans always so reactionary online after a defeat? You wouldn't think we're going to be in a cup final in 4 weeks. People need to calm down. Everything is fine. In Eddie we trust. P.S. Is Blue Sky any good?" There's a lot of questions in there, Josh. We always said this every single week, don't we, about social media. Like, just dodge it for a little while.
I went through it towards the end of my time on Twitter. I would, after a game, if we'd lost, I just wouldn't go on it at all. Blue Sky, funnily enough, I noticed on Saturday there was a bit of it, and I was like, well, I was a bit kind of the same kind of crack about players not trying and how it's all shite and all that.
Do you know what it is though? Like it's emotions at the end of the day. Like
it is.
Like we'll piss them on like at times, but we have the weekend to think over it.
I always think
if we recorded straight after a match, it wouldn't go how it normally goes on a Monday night.
Sometimes you do.
True.
Yeah, I don't. This might be an age thing because I'm 40 now, right? And I think.
Well, you've had 4 birthdays during that time.
True. I think I'm just different, and this is probably because of my age and what I didn't have when I was younger. In terms of, I was very upset or angry when we lost a game when I was younger. Like it used to bother me entire weekend, right? Whereas we got beat on Saturday. There, I went downstairs and I started playing Monopoly with the kids. I was like, right, come on, get the board game out then if you want to play it. And that would not have been me if I was 21, like, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's just with age. But also what I would add to that is I kind of feel like I've never really experienced this since being a child, like this sort of how good we are, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just used to battling relegation and getting beat most weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas now, actually, we're seventh at the minute.
Find positives,
it's hard for us to really moan that we're seventh. I shouldn't be moaning, really. Like, I shouldn't be. But then there's some other fans have this opinion of, no. That mindset needs to go. You know, we are no longer the Mike Ashley era. We need to be aspiring to be X, Y, Z. So you should be upset if they get beat. You should be angry. You should be demanding more. But there is a big part of us goes, we're in a cup final and we're still in the top half. We're class, man.
We're getting better every season. We're getting better. And had that one season we finished 4th. I mean, I've been talking to people at work and stuff last couple of days, saying like Isaac and Tonali are good enough to win the Champions League now. If you put either of those two in Liverpool, in Real Madrid, and Barcelona, and they won the Champions, you wouldn't go like, "Why they've won it?" Even though he's like they are good enough now.
Yeah, they
are that good as players, and we haven't really had that. I told me that the other week, this might be the best Newcastle team I've ever seen.
Well,
Saturday, not a great example of that, like, but it could be. Honestly, I think we're that good, or we're getting that good, and we're getting better.
Well, like I said, Isak and Tonali were in the 95 team, my 95-0 team, for example.
Yeah.
You know, you have no problem. You'd be like, fair enough.
I mean,
like, that's how good they are, and I totally agree with that.
I would say the same. I mean, if Pep's getting Botman back to full fitness and all that, he's the same. Anthony Gordon's a better winger than probably as good as we've had since Laurent Robert. Maybe he's on that wing. Off the top of my head, Gutierrez was good, but he was a different kind of player, I suppose. Honestly, I think that we're in a cup final again. We're in the second cup final in 3 seasons. We've Birmingham, the 3rd division side, but we've got through to the next round of the FA Cup, and we're only 1 game away from the quarters there again. We're a good side at the minute, and we're performance being a little bit patchy over the past couple of seasons, you could say. But I'm with Deka in that, and a lot of people say like, "Oh well, that was the past." The Mike Ashley days, you know, the happy clappers and all that. You get level at you,
Mark.
Hi. I think that you do want to progress, and if in 5 years' time we're still getting beat 4-0 at Man City, less than that, a couple of years' time we're still getting beat 4-0 at Man City, after having just been beaten 4-1 at Bournemouth at home, you kind of go like, well, where's the progression there?
Yeah.
But I think we are making progress. I think it's quite apparent that we are, and it's never a straight line. It's never, you don't just get better and the next week you're better again, then the next week you're better again. Like, indefinitely, you plateau at point.
Of course.
Stuff like that.
It's going to be dips, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the league, man. Man United are 15th in the division.
Yeah,
15th. Tottenham are struggling.
And I'm going to sound really, and that's not a Man U podcast. This is going to sound like that thing. Say, I really hope. It's a funny one. I really hope to stick with Amorim, but kind of against myself because I don't want Man U to do well. But I like him, and I think he will do well.
Oh, he
talks
great. Like,
part of his hopes that to stick with him because I think he'll do well there. part of us hopes to get rid of him because I think he'll
Because
do
I
well
think
there.
you will there. I don't know. Like I think that my favorite era, right, and it always will be probably, and that's because I was a child and all the rest of it, was the Keegan era and all the rest of it, right? But they never got to a cup final.
They get close.
They didn't get close, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen 2 in the last 3 years. That's unbelievable. Like, and again, I'll go back to, you know, you look at the job Howe's doing. Listen, I'm going to murder all these stats here. So I hope someone will know them. But in terms of an English manager,
It's not like you to murder a stat. Like,
I'm not even going to try. Actually, I'm not even going to try.
Come on,
but,
try it.
But like, so I'm sure there's something like, I mean, he's the last English. Is there another English manager that's finished in the top 4 in the last? I don't know. I could be wrong here. There probably will be someone. I can't think of one.
Well, the last English manager to win the league was Howard Wilkinson with Leeds in '92.
So
it has happened in the Premier League. It's all been Scottish, French, Italian.
He's doing an unbelievable job. Like, there's nobody else I'd rather be leading this football club, and we're in a fantastic position. Everyone's loving the club again. I'm loving all the merch. I'm just loving everything. And I know we'll have bumps in the road, but man, if you know, it is what it is. I think we're everyone needs
you're
to
not
just
loving, Deka.
What?
The
cup
embroidered cup final shirt.
Very,
Is
very
it printed on?
yes.
Ugh.
Very, very disappointing. Now,
There was last time as well. The blue one, the Castle kit was printed on as well.
So those that have been living on a rock, Newcastle have re-released this season's home shirt and one of the training shirts. Is it the feather one?
The black one, the black feather one, yeah.
The black feather one, but it has printed on it the cup final dates, Liverpool v Newcastle, blah 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 blah. And when I first saw it, I thought it's all right. It's okay. I wouldn't run to the shops to buy it, but I thought it was embroidered, but it's printed.
Nah.
So yes, so obviously I go in the club shop every day. So I went in and I asked the bloke, and he was saying, "Oh, it's 70 quid." This is before I come out, and I went, "All right, well, that's not too bad," because I think that the shirt is 70 quid.
Yeah,
80, isn't it? Or does it come down?
It keeps coming down. I think it's about 60 quid at the minute. I think, yeah.
So I thought, I'm in. And now, the reason I'll say all this is because I remember getting in the final under Robson.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, I apologize. The semis wasn't. Hullet, sorry, yes,
Yeah.
the Hullet one. Sorry.
Was 2000.
And I remember them. I had the shirt with it, and I always thought, why don't they release them shirts? Like, or even someone mentioned the poppy shirts. Why can't you not just go and pay a £5 and get it put on the shirt? Put the £5 towards the charity, and you get a poppy on your shirt if that's what you want to do, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, they never ever seem to let you do that. So I was quite excited actually when I heard it was getting released, and I thought, now part of us thought, here we're going again, the 85th shirt of the season, ripping fans off, blah blah blah. That's just my opinion. But I went to the club shop to buy it, and it was awful. I have to say awful. Now, I'll agree with what Besty
get close to buying it?
Oh, God, no. I mean, I picked it off the rack and went, not a chance. Obviously, the replica's got the badge, which is it's an awful badge.
It's on the patch.
It's like a patch here, whereas the players' one's a beautiful badge. It's very pretty badge. Yeah. And the biggest problem was just a sticky thing, like a heat.
Like a transfer.
Bang. Yeah, and I was like, just cheap.
Off in the wash.
There's part of it I think looks quite smart. I think having the patch on the sleeve, the Sam Fender bit, so it's as close as you can get.
All right.
With the exception of the fact that it is the fans version rather than the authentic or whatever the stadium shirt, whatever call it. I don't think it looks awful, but it's If you had one of those shirts, you should be able to take it in for like a tenner. Get the patch on the sleeve, get the Sam Fender bit in the back. I'm guessing they've got them. The transfer.
Actually, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. If you've bought that shirt, you should be able to go in and pay a tenner, say,
upgrade it
and get the stamp on the middle. It's on your heat press.
And get add-on, isn't it?
They'll have them. There'll be a pile of them on the back.
So I was disappointed that it was because I listen. I could be totally wrong with it. They might last 300 years, but I feel like 2 washes that's off, or numbers and letters coming off, and it'll be FA.
Yeah,
that's it.
Fuck all. That's
Fuck all final. That's what it'll be. So yeah, just listen, right? It's 70 quid, man. You know what I mean? And I know people's going to go, well, prices rise and all that, but 70 quid for a little bit of stick on is not on for me.
It's not inconsequential amount of money, like, is it?
No, it's not, man. It's not. Especially if you bought every other shirt they brought this year.
And the training kits and all that, like. Yeah.
So disappointed.
Josh follows it up. He says, "I'm not talking about yous. Just some. Oh, you use the word use there. Mark would be. I'm flipping.
See, I'm okay with yous.
Yeah, I'm fine with yous.
Fine,
it's Mark that hates yous, isn't he?
Mark, he hates everything.
Yeah, can't even say bolognese probably.
Cantankerous old man.
Bolognese. So he says, yeah, I'm not talking about yous. Just some of the stuff I read online after Saturday was crazy. Nothing but love and respect for you.
Oh, no. When you
and Mark, he said.
When you We knew it wasn't us,
brackets.
Josh. We knew you didn't mean that. Because I agree with you. When I go on, it's just everyone's booting off, you know. I don't get it. I mean, mind you, if social media, I've said this before, but if Twitter was there, or X, sorry, was there when it was blew that 12-point lead, my goodness, Lord Almighty,
God Almighty,
like Christ, you know what I mean?
Josh also follows it up again. He says, on a more positive note, I'm going to Wembley. Anyone fancy a pint? Yes, we'll be down there, Josh.
100%.
We're throwing in a stag do down there as well, so we'll meet up. Just give one of a message, and we'll definitely come meet up with you, mate.
Go a pint as well, a tight bastard, can he?
We'll get you a pint.
I will definitely get you a pint this time. Yeah.
We'll get you a few.
Just a half, like.
Let's have a quick look. This one is from Old Angry Nooba Gamer, and he says, on current form and past history, with never beaten Liverpool, do you think we will win the final? That's a very hard question to answer right now.
When did we last beat them? Have we beaten them since we came back up?
Liverpool?
I know we beat them, obviously, when Jose Enrique went in goal.
There's been a few draws, hasn't there?
Drawn a few times. I've won Anfield forever, since Steve Watson lobbed the keeper that time.
I think, I don't want to be too dramatic because it's Saturday. So I've said a lot this season that we can beat anybody on our day.
Yep.
I have said that. What I will say, though, I normally have those feelings when it's at home. So if anyone comes to our building, I feel we can beat anyone.
Hey, Wembley's we're setting home now, man.
So now, and it's a funny one because equally here, I'm so pleased we're playing Liverpool away, if you like, but it's not a day ground either. So
yeah.
So there's like, do you know what I mean? There's like this.
Anfield's a big thing there.
It's
like,
a big thing.
Yeah.
Big thing. It is. So it's one of them. If you want me honest opinion, I'm going to say no. I don't think we will win. If I'm honest, but once I've had 20 cans on the way down and. You know, and I'll probably be like, yeah,
I'm not stopping that many times for your piss breaks.
I'm bringing a jug.
You piss like a horse when you're on the drink.
Pringles juice out the water.
Definitely going to have to take something. Do you know? Oh, it doesn't matter. So yeah. So I do. I wouldn't say I'm that confident because they are so damn good, man. They've won the group of the Champions League, which is a group of 408 teams, the top of the Premier League. They're a fantastic outfit. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
But we can throw something in there and say, when we have a good day, we can have a very, very good day.
Capable of beating anybody. They lost to Plymouth as well recently, don't forget. And they've got the 2 Champions League games either side of the final. They've got a pretty rough run as well. I'm not kind of saying that.
They've got Man City coming up as well, you know. So they've got us and then they've got Man City. They've got the Champions League games. So it's a good point now.
It's not an easy. I mean, I've kind of hoped when you think of the team they put out in the final last year against Chelsea, it was a lot of young'uns in there, wasn't it? But it was Klopp. And this would be Slot's first trophy there. So, and I think that's the thing. I think he'll be after that. I mean, I know the Plymouth thing happened.
Did you see the semi-final against Spurs? They were 1-0 down, obviously. And it was a full strength team. Full at the brim. Yeah. And he's not messing around him. He will be full
well, we're going to have to, if we are going to win it, we'll need to beat a good Liverpool side. The best team in
and do you know what it is? I think
at the minute, in Europe.
I say this going in every game when Newcastle's involved because we'll mention Newcastle's identity recently. If we can be physical on the day, as in, like you mentioned, Deka, the first 5-10 minutes of the game, we go and put our mark and that's it. No, we're here, we mean business today.
Yeah.
If we've got to rough them up a little bit, you always get away with your first challenge, don't you? You normally get away with your first one. He gets ridiculous this season, how many he's got away with. But if we're the ones that put that first challenge in and go, right, we're ready for this, I think that's going to be crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the home game we had, it was 3-3, wasn't it? I mean, that game was a billion miles an hour. It was just an amazing game of football. It really was. The thing is with Liverpool, what I will say, they've got a lot of experience there, but God almighty, man, they've got goals, man. They've got a lot of players in their team that can hurt you. You've got Salah, who, I mean, goodness me, I'm a massive fan of Hall. I've sung his praises. Even when people thought he was shite, I was singing his praises. But let's be fair, he's a little bit defensively not the greatest, right? And you're coming up against the best right winger there is.
Unbelievable.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a really, really tough ask. And what I will say is that we can't have. I feel like to beat Liverpool, you need maybe a bit of luck, but you also need everybody to be accounted for. And for example, Saturday, I mean, not a single bloody player was. And again, it just worries that we have that in with the Bournemouth game, for example. You're getting beat at Fulham home 2-1. Like we'll have it in with, don't we? Mm-hmm. But listen, at the end of the day, let's not try and be negative here. At the beginning of the season, we all would have loved to have a cup final. We've got a cup final. Let's just enjoy it and we'll deal with it when
We've
it
got a
comes.
cup final with 3 points off fourth in the league. We're still in the FA Cup.
Exactly.
Well,
Only team that can win the domestic, Gerald.
as
that's
things
cool.
stand. But yeah, the home game against Liverpool, I thought you touched on it. The home game against Liverpool, I thought at half time we were clearly the better team. But they, like you said, they've got the goals, and we started to make a couple of little mistakes in the second half.
There was one particular goal them scored that was just like.
I think Joe Linton gave the ball away, he played a square one of like 40
Oh,
yards from goal.
Was that the one on the outside of the foot? He tried to play it to someone.
Yeah.
And there was one particular goal them scored in that game where I thought, you know, I think only Liverpool could have scored that goal. It was like just 100 miles an hour, pass, Salah, bang. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how have they scored there?
Play against.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how have they scored there?
But then I remember at full time in that game, we should have had a penalty in the second half.
finish.
They might well have scored that break right at the very end when the free blew. So I remember leaving that when we left that game. I didn't leave. I watched it at home. But kind of the end of that game, thinking, like, I feel like we've been robbed there.
Yeah.
It is Liverpool. We've drawn 3-3. It was a neutral, as they say. It would have been a wonderful game of football to watch. It was obviously nerve shredding all that as a Newcastle fan. But we're capable. I think we can do it still.
More than yeah.
I'm a little bit less confident than I was at the start of the end. Yeah, a minute to 3 on Saturday. But we'll see what happens these next few games. If they're going to be in decent form, Isak can get back in the score sheet because he's gone 4 without scoring now, I think.
God, has he?
Something like that, things can change so quickly in 3.5 weeks.
It's mad, isn't it, how I do think he is the best, you know, Isak. I do. On games like how isolated he can be and just cannot
Mate,
get involved. You know?
Honestly, later on in the game, I've already told you, it was backs against the wall at one point, and I started building a sideboard in the sitting room. I started building a unit, which took hours.
As fast as I was centre half.
I was going to replace it with Dan Burn at one point. But I've completely forgot what I was going to say because I started watching the telly.
Was it? Sorry, that was a hell of a finish.
I know.
That was a hell of a finish.
He's won some goals.
He's
gone. He's a good player.
Absolutely gone. Oh, what I was going to say is that at one point in the game, I completely assumed that Wilson replaced Isak. Then I looked up, and he was on the left wing.
Well, this is where
Gordon, didn't you? I think.
What the fucking hell is how we're doing there? Like,
I think that's just getting minutes in Wilson's legs.
No. Wilson's fine, but Isak needs. We're 3-0 down, 4-0. Get him off.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, get me on. Like, just get anybody on and get him off.
One, but you're not at that point. You're not making that many back.
Like, something totally inconsequential. Like,
totally. Like, come on. Like, what happens if he pulled it with a hammy there? Oh well, you missed the final and all. You're 3 or 4-0 down at this stage, off the field. Like. Come next week, all the best. Like, it's stupid. And he's done that a few times where I've seen we're in games. Sometimes we're winning 4-0.
3-0 up against one team. It took him to take
and you're
them
like, him off the field.
I tell you what's weird. A couple of times in the second half, Gordon got given offside when he wasn't. But
when he wasn't.
When the referees,
supposed to give advantage, aren't you? Until
they play it go and then until how it's just weird that didn't happen.
It happens all the time. It's a hit and miss.
Really unusual because I know we talked about it fairly recently.
The second one he was on. When he was on,
I thought both he was. To be honest with you, the second one he definitely was. It's just weird that, and we were. I mean, I think it was 3-0 at that point. It was the second half, so it would have been 3-0 at least, and it wouldn't have been of any consequence of game out like that. It's just I found that really odd. That why not? It's strange and that's what we all complain about. You know, when it happens to St James and you go, he's offside him, then 20 seconds later the flag goes up after another phase of play, basically.
Yeah.
It's just odd that it's how they apply it. I'm not too sure what the rule is, or if it's just that they are being inconsistent with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I really don't know because I thought they were just waiting till the play's done.
Yeah,
and then they'll review it type of thing. Yeah.
I'll go through a couple more. So there's a comment from our friend Paul Flanagan, who was here last week. People may have seen the photos that Paul took of us last week. He was behind the scenes taking some snaps as well, which was shared across the GallowgateShots social media. So thanks very much for joining, Paul. He says, not many smiles to photograph this week. Well, we're smiling, man.
We always try, don't we?
Yeah, we're smiling, mate.
I mean, even Sunderland's winning, we're still smiling. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Next question is from El Grande Salmon that says, do we miss a real leader in the spine? I never really see anyone getting hold of them and bollocking us into life when we are so passive and when you can see momentum shift away.
I don't know, really.
This is Mark. This is Mark's question.
Mark's always about how Bruno's not a good captain, but he only ever mentions it when we don't win.
No, I think to be fair to Mark, I think he probably would stick by that.
He would now because we got beat.
Well, no, even if we were were winning games. He never wanted Trips to be replaced as captain. We saw the reason for it because he wasn't going to be starting games.
As much,
Yeah,
and
we knew that. But I think Mark
allegations.
had his heart set on Dan Burn being captain.
Yeah,
But
left back being captain, isn't it?
But Dan Burn's still on the field. So
He's-
just because you've got a bit of plastic around your arm, cotton or whatever, it doesn't matter, does it? Like I'm not a fan of that opinion of, oh well, if I'm not a captain, that means that I can't lead. You're either a leader or you're not, right? Like now, on Saturday we had Trippier, Burn, Bruno is our captain. I would expect and think
Wilson's
well,
a leader
came
as well.
on, I guess. Now what I'd also say is the days of when I think of a captain, right, I have to say I think Shearer, Roy Keane, Vieira, Adams, a captain. Do you know what I mean? Who is going to go out there and absolutely bleed for you? You know what I mean? And then I don't know if modern football kind of has that. And I'm not a fan of that, by the way. I believe you should. I believe you should have an absolute warrior on that field. Like some people might say, like, so Joe Linton could be a captain just because he smashes everyone, he shouts some balls. But there's different types of captain, isn't there, you know? But I agree with the comment that, like, I didn't see it on Saturday. And maybe listen to professionals, and maybe they don't need to. But like, if I was Burn, grabbing your centre halves and saying, "Fucking wake up here! Like, what is going on?" or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I get that, and sometimes when you are getting B2s and 3-0s like that, it's almost you see it more not happening. Like, why aren't they getting a hold of each other? Why aren't they doing?
I think you see. I think probably the pointers came from Bruno's body language when we were conceding goals wasn't great. Like
his wasn't good all game.
Yeah,
even running back.
I thought the second goal was his fault.
Just let him see you later, mate. There's no real attempt there, and like we'll go right back to the start when people are saying, "Oh, they weren't trying." I think, of course, they're trying, but they're not putting it all into that performance. Like,
do you reckon it's one eye in the final?
I hope not, mate. Because 4 weeks we've got like 3 games before that.
Shearer said that on Match of the Day. He said,
"God, you watch Match of the Day."
No, I didn't. My dad I never watch it.
Do you not think that's lazy though to throw that in, saying all the one eye on the cup? I got it when we're looking at the semi-final when Arsenal were coming up to St James's Park and the game before that.
Fulham was the game before,
I get that, right? But if those players have got one eye on a cup final when you've got these 3 massive games coming up in the league, that's worrying if they're looking at that. Like,
well, I don't think they are, and because my dad was on at mine yesterday and we were talking about the game, right? And I said, "Did you watch Match today?" And he went, "Oh, aye." And he said, "Shearer said that," and part of us thought he's full of shit there. Like, but then I thought, well, Shearer's been there though. Like, Shearer's pretty hell.
He's done it.
Like, exactly.
Played in 2 cup finals.
So like, well, 1 semi and 1 final. What?
Not 2 finals. Got a final in 98, 99.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sorry, yes, of course, yeah.
Semi in 2004 as well. But I don't think he was fit.
But if he's seeing that, is it from experience that like he's been around players that have got an eye on that? Now I just can't believe that. Not when it's so. It's not like the finals on Sunday.
Yeah.
So if the final was a week away, then it is.
I get it.
I would maybe get it because they're doing to get injured, they're doing to get sent, or whatever it may be. But 4 weeks away is a long time.
It feels like too much to me as well. Yeah, I agree with that. I hope it's not the case because that means that we're
fucked.
Basically throwing the towel in against Forest. And I still think, going back to what you said earlier, Chris, January was a big risk. And you understand why they've taken that risk not to bring players in because of the financial fair play stuff. What happened last summer, we're having to get rid of Anderson and Minter. But it was a risk, a calculated one maybe, but a bit of a gamble. And we're still 3 points off 4th place, so I'm not going to sit here on February the 17th, whatever it is, and say, "Oh, it's a calamity, it hasn't worked, whatever." No. But you do kind of hope more than anything else that the rest of the season, over the rest of the season that it doesn't come back and bite with, because we could be sitting here in January with 8 trophies, finishing like 7th or 8th in the league, going like, "God, I wish we bought in Mbeumo in January or whatever," just to kind of.
Yeah. So somebody said it was not, nobody said this to me at all. But I watched a YouTube video of someone saying this, and they said that take out the Arsenal games, the cup games, that is. We haven't played well. He was trying to say, "Tell me." So take them Arsenal games out of it. When's the last time we've played well? And I was going, "You're full of shit." But then I actually sat and thought, "Oh, can I tell you?" Like, but I still think that's wrong. But is he wrong? Because I can't. I mean, you've got Fulham in there. You've got obviously Bournemouth in there clearly.
Oh, well, we've gone through a horrible little patch recently.
Even Birmingham didn't play particularly well.
The Southampton game we weren't great. We won, but
it was Southampton was better, I thought. Wolves at home. Hang on, have we played Wolves at home?
We did, and I thought we were lucky in that game actually.
Beat them 3-0, didn't we? But
we did.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
because then we got tanked off Bournemouth.
So it was really similar.
Well, I remember walking out St James's Park going, that's not a 3-0 game.
Yeah, it wasn't a
Yeah.
3-0. No, it wasn't. But anyway, listen, someone might say no, because I think he also referenced that people were dining out on the Man United, Tottenham, and Arsenal game. Now I sat here and said, "Goodness me, can you believe we've won them 3 away games in a row?" That was like,
yeah.
And I'm not, but Man United are. I mean, goodness me, Man United are Man United.
Tottenham are great at the minute.
Tottenham at that particular time as well, and still now are very poor. So I'm not. I don't want to take away from results.
Ian McKenna's coming in saying playing well doesn't mean thrashing people. You can play well with a 1-0 win. Well, you can.
Early in the
no,
game,
absolutely. I mean, the Arsenal game was 1-0, wasn't it? Was it?
2.
Sorry,
2-0,
sorry,
2-0.
apologise. 2. Sorry, yes, it was. Yes, sorry, yes.
early in the game on Saturday, the commentator was saying Newcastle keeping their shape really well.
Yeah, that was scored straight after he said
Yeah,
that.
I thought, oh well, that's something to be said, like that, and that's the point at which I look at the game thinking, well, that's how House set out. You set them to be tight and all that, like, and because it's restrict. We've done that before. I mean, I don't think it's quite the same as when Bruce would part with Bus or Rafa did it against Man City St James once or twice. I think we've got a bit more about within that now. I think back to the Arsenal game in the league at home, we'll beat 1-0 and we didn't have a massive amount of the ball really. But we got caught on Saturday.
Yeah.
Is that what you were referring to with the league game? League game was 1, wasn't it?
League game was 1-0. He's actually scored the header.
2.
Cup matches, because cup matches.
Yeah, it was 2 and 2. Sorry, yeah. No, I think to reference Saturday, like you see, this is why, like, Ange, right? Ange for Tottenham is absolutely hell bent, same as Amarin is for Arsenal. For Man United, to play this style of football, this formation. I'm not moving from this. You're going to die in a ditch. Like, you've had it because you're not prepared to change your game.
He's gone soon, like,
and that's why I love Howe, because Howe, he has a principle of how you play the game in the way he wants to play it, but he accepts that. You can't play that way every single game, otherwise there is going to be games you get absolutely turned over. However, I had no problem going 5 to the back and being hard to beat on Saturday, for example. The problem was we were absolutely easy to beat. That's what annoys you.
Oh, but Ronaldo got belly tickled.
I used to laugh. I used to always joke as well, Bruce. We used to play like 11 behind the ball and get beat 10-0. And I'm like, what? Like, how are these having so many attempts at our goal when we've got every single man in Newcastle in the goal, and they're still just absolutely peppering you? And that's what I could never work out now. Sometimes maybe pressing from the front, defending from the front, etc. works. But I don't mind being hard to beat. And if you want to start that game against Man City, right, let's get through the first 15 minutes. Let's be absolutely solid for the first 15 minutes, and then we'll try and sort of take the game to them. Whereas the game's out of sight in 15 minutes. It's out of sight, and that's just not on. Like, it's just not on.
I'll do one more question.
I didn't enjoy it.
Final question is from Liam Knowles. That says, should we be hearing from the club? Is Eddie getting left out in the media to fend for himself?
That's a good point.
He's referring to PSR.
No.
There's a lot of questions getting thrown towards Eddie Howe at the minute. But I think it was 2 press conferences ago. I think it was one before the second leg for the Arsenal game. I think it might be Lee Ryder that asked the question. I might be wrong, but I'm sure it was Lee Ryder that asked the question. And Lee Marshall stepped in and said, yes, you will be hearing from somebody else at the club in regards to the financial things behind the scenes. Because Eddie Howe looked at Lee and said, is there? I think the question aimed at Eddie Howe was, we're going to hear from somebody else in regards to PSR restraints, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know why we would.
Well, the club came out and definitely came out and said that there will be somebody commenting on it.
Well, I always watch Craig Hope's YouTube video, always after the press.
Highlight your day, is it?
And he's grew on us a bit, him. He has.
Like Stockholm syndrome.
He's grew on us.
It's like them home football shirts every single season.
He has grew on us a bit, actually. And he said that after the press conference has finished, there's like I forgot the word. There's a I don't know what the word is.
Debrief?
Embargoed, is that the right word?
The press embargo, yeah.
That's it. So
the stuff that I can't talk about.
Well, he talked about it. So that part, he said, Howe got asked a question and he said, listen, like, we need more, we need help. If we want to keep hold of the likes of Isak and etc., we need more to come in. It's as simple as that. Like, he was quite honest like that. And he maybe not have said it word for word like that, but that's what Hope was saying. And like, I do think it is quite important that obviously Howe will know that, right? And he'll be getting asked them questions. And I do feel that I don't know who it needs to be, by the way. It could be what's he called?
Phil Mitchell.
Phil Mitchell, he could come out and just say, almost like a point in time review of the season, and then say, listen, we'll get the frustration. We want to buy in January, we'll get it, and we understand your frustration. These are the reasons why. you know, I'm not saying map it out. I didn't need you to put numbers on a paper for us because it needs to be confidential, but at the same time, maybe just a bit of an explanation. But having said all of that, right, the reason why maybe they haven't is that we're in a cup final, we're 3 points off fourth. If we're in a position like Spurs were, or where you're out of all cups and you're lying 14th, then the club may feel shit. Because we haven't bought in January, we're going to have to come out and say something. But because everything's pretty rosy in the garden,
it's kind of rocking the boat for no real reason.
To me, I agree. I think it's the act of a club that are in trouble when you come out and do something like that. We don't appear to be any kind of great trouble. There's no.
That doesn't mean communication shouldn't happen.
I don't know. Regarding financial aspects and PSR and stuff like that, I don't think clubs, unless they are in bother, ever say here's what the state of play is, because then you're giving the game away to. And I'm going to mention Mbumo again. If we end up trying to buy him, and we release a statement saying, "Well, PSR's really held we're back, but now what? Watch this." Brentford are going to go like, "There's an extra 30 million on him straight away." So I'm quite happy with him keeping that powder dry. And they'll act as I've got no faith. I've got no doubt that they'll. I've got every faith, should I say, that they'll, if the money's there to be spent on improving the first team, improving the squad, whatever, then they will do it. But they've got to be careful. The accountant's got to be right, because we came so close last summer to losing points, and it turns out it wouldn't have. Well, it might have done if we were 4 points.
We'll never know what they were.
Fewer this season would be 10th or 11th now, and then you would be going, "Well, we're not going to Europe this year." Whereas Forest points deduction was last season. The 4 points in our part of the table makes a huge difference. Can make a huge difference. Whereas lower down, providing you're under 10th, above 17th, you're probably going to be okay with a small deduction, depending on kind of how far down you are. So yeah, I wouldn't expect them to come out and say anything. Just go about your business. Just do it right. I don't care if they don't tell me what's going on. Just do it right, and I think they probably will.
Yes, I agree with that. I do. Having said that, it wouldn't go amiss, though, would it? Having like a sort of a review, like a message from the board of,
I think this
isn't a vote of confidence here. It's just where we are as a club.
There's probably a way of doing it, but I don't think you're going to get any sort of information that we don't already know, really.
Well, Howe gives nothing away anyway, does he? I mean, that's what I was referring to earlier when I said don't listen to what he says, because I love Eddie Howe, but like, what do you find out?
Yeah.
In a post-match, in particular press conference, or even a pre-match one, you might find out that Joe Linton. In fact, even then, I'm saying that we might find out Joe Linton's fit in the presser. You'll find out 75 minutes before kick-off.
Yeah.
And also, Joe Linton's playing tonight. So I wouldn't expect. I don't think the club need to. I think.
Well, let's remember last time we had one of these things was when Mitchell first came on board, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and that rocked the boat a little bit.
That in the summer, yeah,
massively.
I think they've probably been burnt a bit.
We're going over waves at that point.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Sometimes you want communication. All the fans talk about communication, but when you get communication, you didn't like it.
Read too much, read between the lines,
and then all of a sudden, Howell was not liking it, and I think that wasn't good. Actually, some of the things he said wasn't great.
I think the next
from both sides,
the next communication we'll get from the club will be regarding the new ground, or
I think it'll be
the ground,
or the day that the open top bus is going around the city centre.
I think it might be Eels' replacement, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
And
I
don't mean replacement. You know what I mean? You know
yeah.
Sounds awful. But yeah, I think that's what it might be. And then it is when he then comes in, he might then give you the full shebang. You know, I don't know, but
could be Ashworth. He's out of work at the minute.
He's never getting
good at what he does. Apparently,
is he?
I mean, his garden will be amazing, and he'd have all the money in the world in the bank. But for his career, it is quite
damning.
It's quite very damning.
He hasn't stayed in any jobs for as regards to being at clubs for. I mean, he wasn't
didn't even start the last one, Besty.
No, he wasn't at Brighton that long. Couple of years, maybe.
Couple of years, yeah. Was he at the England setup just before that?
Yeah, he was kind of helped them set up St George's Park.
Yeah. Anything that you want to add before we go?
I want to talk about tickets for the final.
Yeah, we haven't. We can talk about them if you want.
Not really bothered.
got mine.
I don't know why you brought it up.
Got mine. Do you know what it is? We knew what was going to happen, no matter how the club did take it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's always going to be somebody that wasn't happy.
I saw a thing about, because I held mine back, because I was pot 2, but I held back to pot 3 because a mate of mine was pot 3.
You take the risk?
I
wouldn't you were going to get a pot 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it was risk of as a way you could sit.
It was ever so slightly. There was a little thing in the back of my head thinking like, I wonder if. Well, I think everyone in pot 3 who wanted one got one, didn't they? Because there's still apparently 2,000 tickets left for the pot 4, 5, and 6. I saw someone on the Trust's WhatsApp group saying that if you're in pot 3, I don't know why you would want to do this. Oh, it was someone who mistakenly thought they were in pot 2. Sorry, mistakenly thought they were in pot 4, but actually in pot 2. They couldn't. I think it was implied that they couldn't enter the ballot because they'd missed that chance in the pots. I might need to reread this actually because I didn't think
It really confused me with that.
So this fella thought he was going to be in pot 4.
Yep.
I think he'd been emailing his tickets out rather than transferring them.
Right.
So he, in actual fact, had been to 4, maybe 3 home games, or maybe in pot 3. And realized after the event that he was in the wrong pot. Must have read the email properly.
Yeah.
So gone on it, go on the ballot, and apparently the website
it.
wouldn't let him do it unless he's done what I did on Friday and forgot to log in prior to trying to get his ticket. Maybe. But yeah, that if that's right, then that's. I probably shouldn't be saying that is the case on here without knowing the facts first. It seems very.
What's your thoughts on
Too late.
What's your thoughts on the transfer business? Because I don't like that. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
Well, like people have getting a ticket and they've transferred it to someone because maybe they couldn't go.
Yeah.
Because to me, then down the line, right, next cup games, even if you know you can't
Everybody
go,
can do that.
That's certainly going to happen.
They'll just buy a ticket and not go.
100%. That's going to happen.
That's shit.
Apparently,
that's shit, right?
Apparently, it doesn't matter if it was scanned out again. Reading this earlier, this might not be true, but it's what I've read. I'm so sorry. Don't get rid of me ticket.
Your reading's like my stats. Right?
It's something I read. I saw it implied. I think again in the Trust WhatsApp group was that if you bought a ticket but didn't use it, so didn't go at all, it wouldn't count against you, so it would still show as being a ticket.
So it doesn't matter what's scanned or not, basically.
Yeah. But if you went and transferred it, then that would be you didn't go to the Chelsea game or the Brentford game or whatever.
I think what the club have done,
if that's right,
the way they've done the ticket, they've kind of made a rod for the own back this time, especially with the FA Cup game coming up, because we would assume if we made it to the final for the FA Cup, it'll be the same principle that they'll go off.
Sort of. It's a funny
one. But you've got a 2 semi-final to Wembley that you can throw in there.
It's a funny one because the League Cup run to the final this time has been, even though it's been different teams, has been identical to how it was 2 years ago. In that we had the away game, then 3 home games, then the 2-legged semi.
Yeah.
And that happened this year as well. Forest, Chelsea, Brentford, So the FA Cup will be a bit different because we've been home to Bromley, away to Birmingham, home to Brighton. Get past Brighton, we've got a quarter final against whomever, and then a semi. So the criteria has got to be a bit different. I don't know how, because it's been the same pot. It's kind of worked in their favour. Well, it's been the same.
Not necessarily. I don't think it's got to be different, but it's going to be those with the higher loyalty points that'll get it if it goes down the route that it has done now. Because the way it was advertised was 5 games, wasn't it? So pot 1 was 5 games.
Yes. Yeah.
So 5 games. Yeah. So they could do that again, but obviously majority of those are away, so it's basically based on loyalty point system. Then, really, isn't it?
Kind of. You could still do the same thing. Where is it 5 games? So 3, 4, 5, 6 quarter semi. 5 or 6 games. I also forget how many rounds are in the FA Cup. I suppose they could do the same thing where you say, well, if you went to Birmingham, you went to all the home games, you went to
just to say a number again.
Whatever the next away game might be, if it is away. You could do the same thing and say, right, here's your 5 games, then your 4 games, then 3 games. So it would kind of work because they haven't used loyalty points at all. For the League Cup thing, it would be inconsistent for them. Not to say that I wouldn't do it, but it would be inconsistent for them to do it for the FA Cup as well. I think.
But
it feels like they're going away from that, apart from for away games.
They have encouraged doing things the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's when they've brought in the cup scheme for this season. Everyone that signed up for it thought, well, if I get to Wembley,
it was going to be based on that. Yeah.
If I'm honest, I didn't go to all the, because my youngest was really young at the time. I think he might be in hospital quite a bit around that FA Cup, League Cup run last time. He said, making excuses. It's a sympathy for he was fine. Nothing wrong with him. I'm only the only kids. I just look rough as fuck on boy too. One of the main reasons that I joined the cup schemes was, well, if I get to Wembley, I don't want to miss it. So I'm going to go to these games and enjoy or endure them, whichever it is. It's the same for cup matches. If people can't make a cup match because the ticket gets emailed to them, there's nothing really to stop them from saying, for the email instead of transferring it, and then they keep the.
Yeah, well, I've heard that apparently. I don't know where I heard this from, but someone said that if you forward it, what they're going to do or something, and if say if someone else scans it, they can download it to your phone. The club or someone are going to know that.
Can't do it.
They can't do that.
They can't do it unless they do random spot checks like they said.
Because it could be your other phone, like your phone. Of course, you could use your. I get the in a way, as much as I think it's unfair on those people, but I know there was a big song and dance about fans that have, this is why these deserve the tickets, and I'll always say this, I'll always stand by this, but people that have been gone for years and years and years and years and years may not go to an away game, or they may not go to the cup game. They'll always give it to someone else, and then that means their monopoly.
Yeah,
the fucked, because they're getting all the points for this, but they're actually not attending the game. Well, fair, but that's why the transfer.
It's the way it's been for
it's weird,
decades,
I know, yeah, but that's why they've stopped the transfer. Why was if you transfer one,
you don't get the
you don't get the point, which I do get, but I do find it a bit unfair in the same.
No, I think it's probably right.
Well, now they'll just forward an email. So the point, it's not actually changing.
But that's not the club's fault.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it.
You can't.
But if someone trying, say you've got to work night shift, you didn't know, and you've got to work night shift, you bought the ticket, and you've got to go in and work, for example, or your kid's ill. If I transfer this to you and give you the opportunity to go, it's going to hurt me. I find that really awful.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Well, this is why they introduced that the apparent spot checks, which they're going to do, which they have done to a certain extent, but I have not heard for a long time somebody being stopped.
It's St James. I've not heard it.
I've not seen anybody at St James being stopped, but there was quite a thing about away games.
Yeah, it was more away games, and because it was that thing of people buying tickets for other people and loyalty point harvesting, if you want to call it that. Whereas at home, I don't think it matters quite as much, but maybe for the cup matches they will do that.
But you've got to be honest. There's a question came in there from Ian saying, "Can you suggest a way which ticket allocation would be fair?" No, there isn't one really. Because
there's not one.
There's always loopholes where people can trick the system to whether that's loyalty points, whether that's cup games that you've attended at St James's Park, whatever it is. There's ways that you can trick the system. We've just told you 2 ways there straight away. So the issue is that there's always going to be a way around it, and there's always going to be a party of fans that aren't going to be happy.
That's just the nature of the beast. I've been talking to my mate Lee at work, and she's been saying, like, it's mad how, and I agreed. I don't think I mentioned it last Monday at all, but Wembley's too small.
Yeah.
Like Wembley, there's so many corporate tickets. The FA Cup final, you get fewer tickets than you do for the League Cup final, even something like 25,000. So you get in a stadium that holds 90,000, you've got nearly half the tickets going to sponsors, going to this, that, the other. I understand that the FA Cup final, because we've got such a large, the League Cup's 92 teams.
Well, Besty, what blows my mind is every team in the Football League gets 6 tickets.
I don't hate that.
It's mental, though.
I don't hate it at all.
That's a canny allocation, that.
It's not, I mean, 6 tickets is like 600 tickets in total, give or take.
Well, just go to corporate anyway, if it was.
Look, I just make Wembley, Wembley's not big enough. If you've made Wembley 150,000 and give 50,000 to corporate.
Was it 90?
Something like 90, I think. High 80s, low 90s.
There's a hell of a lot going to corporate, though.
Huge amount.
And I still can't get one.
What I don't understand is the teams that get the cup finals, right? FA Cup finals, League Cup finals, tend to be the better supported sides. So it tends to be Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, us at the minute, Arsenal, Man United. Even like the Villa, Leeds, Sunderland, you could put in that hat. It's like West Bromwich Albion, Birmingham. Like, you could probably name half the Football League, and they would sell more than 30,000 tickets for a cup final at Wembley. So why is it so small? If you're going to give all those tickets to sponsors, give them to sponsors, but make Wembley 50,000 seats bigger.
Well, you know what happened if they make Wembley bigger, there's more goes to corporate.
But that's what I'm saying. Make it bigger. Say there's 50,000 tickets.
Well,
Can I not?
Yeah, and then
it's going to cost a lot of money to do that, though. Maybe I don't know.
But it should have been thought of beforehand.
Yeah. No, maybe
they've made a stadium that doesn't. It's not fit for purpose. With regards to 22,000 people going to Wembley when we've got 30,000 season tickets, and we're not the.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When you think Old Trafford's got a far higher attendance than Anfield has. Stamford Bridge, I think, has it? Everton's is about to. I mean, not by much, but it is about to. You know, like it's just not. It's ridiculous that you've got people who, like you said, people who've been in Newcastle through like the Mike Ashley years. People further back, like the older lads who have been going, like some Mark, like watching like the Gordon McKeague days, like the getting relegated with like Billy Askew in the side and Frank Pingler and all that. Like lads that have been going, lads and lasses, excuse me, who've been going for 30, 40 years. And they were nervous we're getting a cup final team because the allocation strike.
Well, I was talking to Emma about that. You know, Emma, fuck me, man.
He loves it, Emma, doesn't he?
He loves
it.
Emma was never not getting it again.
I can't wait to see him. It would be an absolute clip at Wembley.
He was at City. He was just away all the time.
I've seen a picture of Kris put on.
I messaged him just the other day, and I was saying, like, I just hope that the people that do. I'm not getting a ticket, right?
Yeah,
and that's absolutely fine.
Podcast, I think it'd be all right.
You get a box, man. You get a box when you podcast.
I did try through work and that, but I'm not getting one. But and that's fine, right? Because I don't deserve one. Like I don't. Like there's people out there that absolutely deserve a ticket, and I said that multiple times that those that have a season ticket or those that are traveling up and down the country, etc., absolutely deserve to be there. And I really hope, and that by the looks of it, there will be. All those people will
100%,
and that's the important thing, 100%. Because I don't deserve.
It's a weird one where this time round, I don't think the ballot where they set aside so many tickets for every pot. So if you're in pot 4, you're guaranteed 5 are guaranteed. I don't think that's the case this time.
I don't think it's been as chaotic as what it was last
Yeah.
time. Because last time it was rushed.
Well, because I didn't get one to start with last time.
Yeah,
and
it
that
was
I
rushed.
kind of felt a bit better that someone who was just, I'll try and get a ticket for Wembley who hadn't been to the games.
Yeah.
And obviously it sounds very kind of hypocritical of us to be quite happy with how it's
No,
gone
but
now.
basically last time there was people that had probably not been to a game at St James's Park that season that managed to get a ticket, which was mental.
I seen that, and I didn't like that at all.
Like I was seeing people that I know for fine well aren't even that arsed about football that were getting taken. I was Sam Fender,
Shaq.
Shaq got one, and you're thinking, are you taking the piss? Yeah,
Shiraz going in, he's in the way, and he's not signing up for any.
Seeing
any.
Are you trying to say Shiraz doesn't deserve one?
No. What I meant,
He's got 206 30 points.
What was it again? Like he got off our TV.
Yeah,
jobs.
it was like broadcasting rules, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
no, it is annoying though. Like because when I went, there was someone next to me who said he'd never been to a game, and I was like, "What the fuck? How are you here?" Then? That's just not right. Like
it's wild, isn't it? Like,
that's not fair, man. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Right, I'm going to call it night because we've been going for 90 minutes.
I was going to
say, but if anyone's got a ticket, please.
If anybody's got a ticket, Deka, I'll take it off. I'll take it. Thanks everybody who has joined us live. There's been 140 throughout this one, so it means a lot to us. Like the video as well, please do that. If you're listening to the audio as well, just give us a little rating on there as well, as long as it's a good one. Don't give us a shit one.
Just say 5 stars. Like it's
5 stars will do. Five will do. You can't get any higher on that. 5 stars will do. Subscribe to the channel. We're nearly there. We'll push them for 12,000. And if you want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member as well. So do that. There's loads of stuff coming your way as well. Match previews, canny chatter, whatever you want. It's coming your way. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra. Get Deka our ticket.